San Antonio Police, this is Christy. How can I help you?
I'm in Louisiana, but I have a stepson out there in San Antonio, and family members have been trying to call him since Saturday, and we haven't been getting any response back. And we wanted to know if you guys could do a wellness check just to see if everything's okay with him.
January 26, 2021. San Antonio police arrive at a luxury apartment for a routine welfare check. But what they find is anything but routine.
Knocked on the door, there was no answer.
Is that a bullet hole? A bullet hole in the front door. No one answers. The door is locked. When they finally break in, there lies Martell DeRouen.
There you go.
And as soon as I opened the door, I could see the individual lying on his back.
Known to the world as Cardone, a rising rap star, and Beyonce's cousin, shot dead. Who would want him silenced? A jealous rival? A lover scorned? Or someone even closer? Martell had recently shifted to a quiet, upscale neighborhood in northwest San Antonio. It was the kind of place where police rarely got calls, nothing like what was about to unfold.
So when the call came in, it was for a welfare check, and they were adamant that he was there. Myself and Detective Molina showed up. Knocked on the door, there was no answer.
Is that a bullet hole?
We noticed a bullet hole on the door. So that kind of escalated the situation to go further than just knock on the door and leave and let them know that we couldn't contact anyone.
That's weird. Yeah. Police!
We didn't know if someone shot through the door or if he was in there. We really didn't know, so kept banging on the door and no answers. I went down to the office and requested a key. And so we went back upstairs and tried to open the door with a key, and we couldn't open it. So we knew it was locked from the inside.
It's locked from the inside.
So maintenance made the location. And they started drilling out the lock so we could make entry.
Meanwhile, officers checked the garage and found Martell's car parked inside, cold to the touch. He hadn't left. He was still here, somewhere. Back upstairs, maintenance finally got the door open.
We can't just break the door down. You know, how about if he's taking a shower or something like that? We don't know.
Hold on. There you go.
I went ahead and put the screwdriver in there, was able to open it. As soon as I opened the door, I could see the individual lying on his back with the dry blood all around him. He wasn't responsive, he was just laying there.
When I looked at the victim and saw where the wound was, and then compared that to where the bullet hole was in the door, it was pretty obvious he had been looking out the peephole to someone when he was shot.
We saw a chair in the room kicked over, took a look towards the kitchen, found some dishes on the floor.
You could tell right away it was in disarray. There had been some type of fight or dispute in there. The bed was broken, things were just a mess. Looking in the closet, we did notice that there was a gun box, but no gun. The gun box was empty.
The rap industry has seen its share of deadly feuds, and with the flashy lifestyle Martell was living, he could have been a target for anyone.
The top's not safe, man. The devil's gonna work through a lot of people to get to the ones at the top. He wasn't no fool. He knew what comes with that type of lifestyle.
But police still weren't sure. Was this a robbery gone wrong, or something far more personal?
Hi, ma'am.
While detectives were still processing the scene, Martell's estranged wife, Joya, arrived.
Fort Martell?
Uh-huh. Are you related to him?
What? You guys able to get in?
Yes, ma'am. There's some officers up there, but it's best if you just stay down here right now. I'm gonna go talk to the office. Okay?
So we can't go up there?
Not right now.
I didn't allow her to go upstairs and inform her that when the detectives show up, homicide detectives show up, that they would be speaking to her. And so she kind of had a feeling that something went bad.
Joya was on the phone with Martell's parents.
Is there anything that you can tell us, please?
I can't tell you anything, man. I can't tell you anything yet.
She kept trying to push as to what's going on, what happened, is he there? And I just kind of informed her that it's best if they told her what happened.
Can't tell me anything right now. He says I have to wait for a detective.
Since Joya showed up unannounced and admitted she last saw Martell on Friday, detectives immediately flagged her as suspect number 1. They brought her to the station for a formal interrogation.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming and talking to me. You said you're here voluntarily. If you don't want to talk to me, you don't have to, okay?
We interviewed Mr. DeRouen's estranged wife. They were separated and not living together, but she was there at the scene.
And what kind of relationship or marriage did you guys have?
It was great. We had a lot in common. We both loved music. I did a little music as well and things like that. Towards the end, I would say the last 2 years is kind of when it got rocky. I don't know, sometimes it can get a little mean and stuff. So not to mention that with the music stuff, I really didn't like some of the people that he worked with. Kind of shady. You know, a lot of times what happens is people get in beefs about music and then see flash and stuff, which I told him not, don't do that. He did purchase a gun, and I told him that when we were together, I never wanted a gun in the house.
Mm-hmm. What type of gun was it?
It wasn't just like a handgun. I don't know. One thing that I told him is like, don't be showing it on Instagram. Don't be doing all that flashy stuff.
Did he do any of that stuff on Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he flash money a lot on Instagram, or?
He may have, but I know one thing that he did was he liked a lot of jewelry.
Okay. Well, obviously he's flashing. He's doing some of that stuff on Instagram.
He's always been flashy and cocky.
While interviewing Joya, detectives made a chilling discovery. She had called 911 4 days earlier.
I need police now.
Okay, and your name?
My name is Joya DeRouen.
A fact she never mentioned during interrogation.
I'm trying to get in my apartment, but I'm not able to get in. And I see like I'm just not able to get in, and I think my husband is injured.
Your husband's hurt?
Yes.
Do you hear him?
No, he's not responding, and I called him, and he's just not responding. And there's a hole in his door, and I don't know what's going on, honestly.
There's a hole in the door?
Yes.
But she didn't give the correct apartment number. The information she provided led them to a building that wasn't even fully constructed. So they didn't have any information to go off, so they weren't able to find Mr. DeRouen or assist him at that point. It was sad to think that we had an opportunity that maybe we could have been able to get to him sooner.
Officers began canvassing the neighbors. One of them revealed something crucial. She had seen a woman outside Martell's door the night he was killed, and what she described raised even more questions.
So I remember hearing knocking, and so I opened the door, and that's when I saw the girl that I've seen maybe about 2 or 3 times, and she was just banging and banging and banging on his door. And I guess I was kind of taken aback because I wasn't sure exactly what was going on, because she was barefoot and she had nothing in her hand, and she just looked a little bit out of it, facial expression wise. Okay. So I immediately just apologized for opening the door because I didn't want to interrupt whatever was happening. I figured if she's hanging on his door, it's probably not good.
Yeah.
And that helped us to start to establish a timeline of when this might have happened to Mr. DeRouen.
Officers began checking with more neighbors, hoping someone had captured something on surveillance. And then they found it. One camera had recorded everything.
And sure enough, we see on that camera footage, at about the time that we had established already, a female matching the description of the female that the neighbor saw banging on Mr. DeRouen's door. The frightening part about it was, looking at that footage, we knew this was the person we were looking for because she's carrying a gun in one hand and a cell phone in the other. So we're able to compare her 911 call recording to the video where you can hear the audio, and it's the exact same call.
Yes.
Okay, and this is the Towers?
Yes.
Okay, and your name?
My name is Joya DeRouen.
But here comes the twist. When detectives matched the footage with the 911 call, they realized something chilling. The woman claiming to be Joya wasn't Joya at all.
That witness looked at her and she said, "That's not who I saw."
But Joya did have an idea who the woman in the video might be.
Do you remember any of the people that he kind of hung out with during that rap group?
No, I only know of one person, and that was the girl I sent the picture to, the detective.
What's that girl's name?
It's Sasha.
Is it S-H-A?
Mm-hmm. Last name Skare, S-K-A-R-E.
S-K-A-R-E. Let me see. So this is her?
That's her.
Detectives checked Martell's phone to see if he had spoken to Sasha that night. Martell's text messages to Sasha were full of frustration and anger. He was clearly reaching a breaking point, warning her, pleading with her, and trying to distance himself. But instead of backing off, Sasha was closing in.
Things that she was doing that he had to address with her, and he was just, he wanted to help her. He was trying to help her, but he also let her know, look, I can't help you, and if you don't change, you're gonna end up, in prison, is basically what he told her.
Using the surveillance footage, detectives started building a clear timeline of events. After the argument, Sasha was seen leaving the apartment. What happened next would become key to understanding the case.
Sasha left the apartment during the fight, got her hands on the gun, and that's when he locked the door. He deadbolted it. No one was getting back in there. That's why she was needing to bang on the door. She's trying to get his attention to open the door. She wants to get back in because she left some of her property there that she needed. She's barefoot. She needed to get her stuff. But we did find text messages that pretty much described what was happening. He even makes a plea with her, "Hey, you need to bring my gun back." These were the last text messages that Mr. DeRouen was able to send. That really told us that the fight got out of control. She walked out of the apartment with the gun, which matches everything that we knew about the scenario. Her opportunity there is to leave or call 911. She didn't do that. Instead, she fired a gun into the door while he's standing on the other side and then fled. Sasha Scar was our suspect, and we needed to find her.
Investigators started looking for Sasha. They reached out to the media and put her face everywhere. Soon they discovered she was already wanted for other cases, drugs and robbery. With her face plastered across news channels and social media, the pressure mounted. Sasha had nowhere to run. Eventually, she turned herself into authorities.
Can you identify yourself, your full name, birthday for me?
Sasha Scott.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I just call you Sasha? Okay. Before we get started, Sasha, because you are here in custody, I need to advise you of your rights, okay? I went there hoping she would give me a statement to explain everything that happened. I fully believed she was going to provide some type of statement claiming self-defense. What I want to do, the reason I'm here is to give you an opportunity to give your side of the story of what happened, okay? You be willing to do that?
Not without my lawyer present.
Okay. I totally understand that part of it, okay?
The trial against Sasha Scar began. She faced a charge of first-degree murder, a conviction that could mean life in prison. Sasha had already turned down a plea deal for 20 years. When she walked into the courtroom, one thing was clear. Martell's side was packed with family and friends. On Sasha's side, empty seats. And then the trial began.
Good morning. Throughout our trial, you're going to learn that there's a physical confrontation in there by the evidence that we see, broken items. You're going to learn that a bullet went through the door, near the keyhole, into his head. And the most, probably in my mind, most compelling part, video recording of the defendant walking with a semi-automatic 9mm down the hallway on a cell phone. Incidentally, you will learn that when the medical examiner did the autopsy on Martell, they pulled out of his head a 9mm bullet. And when you put these items together, we're going to ask you to find the defendant guilty of murder. Thank you.
Yeah, respectfully, the defense been reserved until the start of the case in June.
And state if you at least one little person.
State called this Joy. What were the reasons for your separation back in 2019?
Well, we didn't want the same things anymore.
During the time that you were together, did you have an opportunity to meet an individual by the name of Sasha Scar?
I did.
Did you ever observe any ugliness from her?
Not really ugliness, just more of like standoffishness. She seemed like she was either very shy or just hiding something.
Prosecutors then played the 911 call from the woman who claimed to be Joya.
And your name?
My name is Joya DeRouen.
Did you recognize the voice, the caller on that 911 recording?
Yeah, I recognized it.
And whose voice was it?
It was Sasha's voice.
And finally, Ms. Joya, the person that we see in State's Exhibit number 4 and 6 and in the video, do you see that person in this courtroom today?
I do. She's sitting over there on the fence.
And just that the jury's clear, can you point her out, please?
Yeah, she's right there, Sasha.
Okay. And she's wearing a black jacket.
Yeah, black jacket, white shirt.
Your Honor, this time the state will ask this witness for cross-examination at this time. Yes.
You and Martell had arguments or fights or anything leading up to your separation?
No, everybody has arguments, but it wasn't anything major. We separated on good terms, I would say.
Carol, last one. Thank you.
Prosecution's remaining witnesses were detectives and forensic specialists who had to overcome the fact that the murder weapon was never recovered. Police believed the murder weapon was Martell's own 9mm, the same gun he'd flashed in his music videos, now missing from its box in the closet.
I could determine that the bullet was fired from a 9mm caliber firearm.
And without a firearm or without a gun to compare to, you cannot make a comparison.
That's correct.
At this time, state one weapon.
You've heard a lot of evidence before. You've heard the what, you put the when, the where. Now you're going to hear about the why. You're going to hear from Miss Sasha Scar herself, and you're going to hear a version of events that happened that night. We're going to leave it up to you to make that decision. And ultimately, at the end, we believe you'll return the only verdict that makes sense, which is not guilty as to murder. Defense calls Miss Sasha Scar to stand.
My name is Sasha Scar.
When I heard that Sasha was going to take the stand, I couldn't believe it. It's a tactic you rarely hear used by a defense attorney.
Did you and Martell ever have a dating or any kind of sexual relationship with each other?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
She didn't look intimidating. She didn't sound intimidating. She came across just as a very soft-spoken woman, almost as if she was portraying herself as the victim.
I was getting ready to go to sleep. I was scrolling on my phone, and Martell came into the room and turned the lights on. He asked me to leave, and I just asked him why.
If you recall, what was he saying at the time?
He was upset because he felt like I was on the phone with another man.
Did this verbal argument escalate into anything more physical?
Yes, it did.
How did the bed become broken?
When I had stashed my stuff from him, he had tackled me onto the bed, and for what felt like a long time, he was hitting me, choking me, until up to the point where I couldn't breathe. And then the bed just broke all of a sudden.
Ma'am, who's this a photo of?
That's me.
Okay. And again, you said, when were these photos taken? Were this photo taken?
A couple of days after.
Okay.
I have a bruised eye and a few scratches on my neck.
She was trying to tell the jury that for her own protection, she grabbed his gun.
Were you in fear for your life at that point?
Yes, I was.
Okay. After you grabbed the weapon, the gun, what happened next?
I told him, don't touch me. I started backing up out of the bedroom. When I backed up out of the bedroom, he started following me. I started grabbing dishes out of the cabinets and throwing it in between us.
The crime scene showed clear signs of a struggle, but the real question was who was the aggressor and who was trying to escape.
I want you to demonstrate for the jury how exactly was the gun discharged.
As I was knocking on the door, I just threw the gun up there.
And the gun went off?
Yes.
Okay. And did you know he was standing behind the door?
No, sir, I didn't.
After the gun goes off, what happened next?
That's when I ended up calling the police.
Who was the person that placed that 911 call?
That was me.
Your name is not Joya?
No, sir.
Okay. Why did you give a false name in the 911 call?
At that time, I really wasn't in the right mind, and I'm not really used to calling the police, so I felt like since that was his wife, I just felt like I should, I guess, present myself as her.
What happened to the firearm, Sasha?
I had ended up just throwing it in the dumpster.
Miss Scar, when you fired that shot, did you know Martell was behind that door?
No, sir, I didn't.
Did you mean to hurt Martell?
Not at all.
Tell this jury, what was your intent when that gun fired?
Sasha sobbed on the stand, or at least tried to. But there were no tears, just a performance that felt rehearsed.
I guess my intent was just to get his attention.
Thank you, ma'am. Now pass this witness.
Now it was the prosecution's turn, and they weren't holding back.
Ms. Scott, so it is your testimony at this point in time you're scared to death. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yes, sir.
So when he wanted you to leave, why not just get out?
Because not only was I intoxicated, he had brought me there, and that was the second time he had did the same thing, as far as bringing me to his place and then all of a sudden just asking me to leave. So I was just questioning why are you doing that?
Now fast forwarding a little bit, after the gun went off and you had your cell phone, you still found a way to leave, right? Correct?
Correct.
So instead of calling 911 and saying, hey, I've just been assaulted, I've just been choked, you didn't do that, correct?
No, sir, I didn't.
You had a gun in your hand and you could have found a safe place to remain and call police, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you have an opportunity to tell the 911 operator immediately after it's happened, I've been choked, correct?
Correct.
I've been hit, correct?
Correct.
But you don't do that.
No, sir.
Can you demonstrate to me how your hands were as you were banging on the door? Can you show me with your hands, please?
I would say they were just like this.
Can you hold them up high, please? Can you, exactly as how you remember it?
I had the gun in my hand and...
The gun is in your hand?
Yes.
You're handling it the normal way somebody would, correct?
Right.
And if you're banging on the door like this, the barrel's facing up, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Show me the moment it was discharged.
After I was knocking...
Show me with your hand, please.
I just lifted it up and just shot. I didn't...
Lifted it up and shot?
Yes.
You lifted it up and shot?
Yes. I wouldn't necessarily say to shoot it because...
Then why?
There would be no other answer, but...
The other answer is that you're angry, decided to shoot at him. That would be another reason why.
I didn't decide to shoot at him, though.
Make a closing argument. We would, Your Honor. Please go ahead.
She claimed that she was afraid for her life. She was scared to death. She left the apartment. And then she came back. Does that sound like someone who's afraid to you? No. She had a functional gun and a cell phone in her hand, left, and came back. The defendant knew exactly what she was doing. She was banging on the door to get Martell to come and deal with her. And then she shot him. That is murder.
Good morning. It's been a long few days. The state is inferring a lot of things. And again, I don't blame them, but those are inferences and speculation. There's nothing showing her standing back and intentionally aiming at the door. She's banging, banging, banging. Martell is silent back there. Doesn't say a word. And you know what our theory is that unfortunately, he was quiet because he's afraid that the police are there. Because he had just beat her. And the gun goes off as she's pulling it up. And I'm not saying goes off accidentally. She admits to pulling the trigger. She's owning it. She stood in the light and said it. She did not intend to hurt Martell. She did not intend to kill Martell. All she wanted to do was get her stuff. Sasha is still young. She's 24. She was 21 when this happened. She was stupid. She did a stupid, stupid thing. She was trapped. She didn't have her stuff. She's mad. She's intoxicated. She fires off a gun to get his attention, and tragedy strikes. Thank you.
You may be seated.
And finally, the jury returned with the verdict.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my understanding that you've reached a verdict, and to the foreperson of the jury, is that verdict unanimous? We, the jury, find the defendant, Sasha Scar, guilty of the offense of murder as charged in the indictment. Ms. Scar, and please rise. State of Texas versus Sasha Scar, punishment verdict. We, the jury, having found that the defendant is guilty of the offense of murder, now return this verdict as to her punishment. Term of 55 years. Juror number 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 2, is this your verdict?
Under Texas law, she must serve half before she's eligible for parole.
Justice was served, but a young life was lost for nothing.